prerequisite for effective political mobilization. Today, we would like to start building towards that by calling upon all like-thinking Ugandans to join us. We have developed an online portal, www.newformation.ug, specifically for the purpose of connecting with you. To join us, please visit it and leave us your contact details as well as your preferred area of contribution to the party. We'll use this information to contact you about opportunities to be a part of the new formation. The volunteers that sign up via the portal will be the critical link we need to reach those who may not be able to register or access the internet. We will, of course, offer other channels through which we can have engagement, and also the consultative processes that we will put in place. We hope to launch the new formation before 25th of December 2018. At this point, it is important to be clear about our vision for the future. We believe that no single party acting on its own can rescue our country from the dangerous path we currently tread. We seek neither to undermine other opposition parties nor engage in mudslinging. Uganda, as it currently stands, can easily plunge into anarchy. People have lost trust in the state. Our health and education sectors are in chaos. There is rising insecurity, inequality, and injustice. The political space in the country is shrinking by the day, and so is the patience of most Ugandans. For us to de-escalate the mounting tensions, we must be willing to reach out beyond our parties, communities, and faith. We must be willing to recognize that one Uganda, one people cannot be achieved without truth and justice, that peace, unity, and transformation cannot happen without people's power being our power, that when all is said and done, the border rider has as much claim to this country as the richest businessman. Those born in our ghettos are as much our children as those born in our most expensive suburbs. We all need to work for a country in which when our soldiers fight, they fight for us all, not a chosen few. When our police keep law and order, they should do so as passionately for the opposition as they do for those in power. We must recognize that for each of us, the black, yellow, and red stripes of our national flag represent a place we call home. We are brothers and sisters, friends, not enemies. Our new formation may use strategies that are different from other parties, but our goal will be the same: a Uganda that works for us all. In this regard, I wish to highlight our commitment to cooperation with democracy-seeking forces as a bedrock of our new formation. God bless you, and God bless our blessed nation. Mungu awabariki. She's going to come.
Thank you very much, General MUNTU, for that brief press conference. We shall be going to a time for questions, but before that, I request the convener, Honorable Alaso, to highlight on a few issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What I have to do is to highlight just a little of our value system. as we get out from now, what do we believe in for the new formation. This document is available, it will be circulated. So let me just emphasize a few points. That we believe in democracy and good governance. And we believe that every Ugandan has an equal and legitimate voice. And that those who lead the country must derive the authority from the people through regular, free and fair elections. We also believe that those who get elected by the majority are obliged to ensure that rights, freedoms, and liberties of those in the minority are protected just as much as the rights of those in the majority. The other core value for the new formation is gender equity. We affirm that for far too long, women both in our country and globally have been treated as second-class citizens with no agency of their own. We believe that to transform Uganda, women's voices and the voices of other marginalized groups need to be heard and need to be included in the mainstream, especially people with disabilities, the elderly, and the youth and women. Justice, law and order sector. We affirm that our country's history has been tumultuous and bloody, largely because the people have from time to time felt that they are unable to access the justice they deserve. We therefore aspire to build a country in which justice is accessible to all by means of institutionalized courts of law, well laid out and respected laws, non-partisan police, and such other organs, rather than through patronage in politics. We believe in transparency, ethics, and discipline. And we believe that those elected or appointed into positions of public leadership have a duty to the people to lead in a manner that is transparent, ethical, and disciplined. We aspire for national cohesion. We believe that any political group with intentions of leading this country must recognize and be sensitive to our fractured history. As a nation, there is need for national unity, and cognizant of this, our new formation will aim at tapping into our cultural diversity and shared ambitions to define, develop, and celebrate a sense of national cohesion. We will be developing these policy positions and values further in a more participatory manner, and we hope that over time this document will be enhanced. We hope that this gives you a direction of what we in the new formation believe in. Thank you.
Very much, Honorable Alaso. Right now we are going through the session of questions. We shall only have 10 questions, and we shall have them in two sets. So we shall have the first 5 questions, then General MUNTU will be able to respond to those. Then we shall have the last five questions. You will tell us your name and where your media house, and then you ask the question. Let's try to be brief and fast. Yeah, I think I'll be random. There's a gentleman in red over there.
Thank you very much. My name is Ramson Hairwe. I work with Top TV. I have 2 questions for General MUNTU. When you make a statement of one Uganda, one people cannot be achieved without truth and justice. That's a statement that is being used by FDC, the party that you are leaving. Are you trying to say that there is no truth and justice in FDC? Two, you have been in FDC since 2004, if that's correct. What has been the problem? What have you found as the problem in FDC?
Thank you very much. Let me have the gentleman in.
Thank you, General Muntu, for this press conference. My name is Misairi Tembo Kaongo from Daily Monitor. My question is, you have, since the announcement of your departure on Tuesday, been described as a person who is arrogant and hungry for power. And what you only wish is to become a president. Would that simple thing to become a president be the reason you quit a party where there is competition and a democratic process of identifying a party flag bearer? Do you think the space had been closed for you to get that chance of appearing on a ballot box or on a ballot paper if you were in FDC? Secondly, people say you have been a mole. This is something that has been said ever since you joined the FDC. I want to ask you whether indeed you have finished your mission of being a mole in FDC.
Thank you very much. I'll choose the people who are going to ask questions. So the next is going to be the gentleman in the gray suit.
Thank you. My name is Kenneth Mfag. I work with Radio 1, Radio 2. General Muntu, according to the views that we are hearing from the other side, your announcement to leave the party came as a shock, because you had told them that there would be an elaborate process, including your report being discussed by the NEC, and then a decision taken on whether you could harmonize or not. So everybody from the other side in the FDC is shocked that you made an announcement before that elaborate process you had talked about had actually been carried out. And people want to know, why did you rush the decision? Then secondly, you talk about working with other friendly forces. The current wave that we have in the country, and I'm glad your statement also talked about the political climate that we have now, is of Honorable Chairman Bobby Wine. And some people have said if you team up with him, you are likely to perform better as a team. Other people have said you are going to fail him. So can you confirm to the country whether you are actually reaching out to Honorable Chairman to see if you can work with the People Power group to be able to achieve the change that you are looking for? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think I have to pick a lady now.
Yes.
There's a lady in green.
Thank you so much. My name is Annie Namubiro. I work with APC, and my question goes to General Muntu. General Muntu, all along we've been emphasizing grassroots support. And I remember very well, some time back, you were the secretary for mobilization in FDC. And my question is, what made you fail to canvass support in your capacity? And what is the way forward in this case as you're looking ahead to take on government? Thank you.
Thank you. We shall have the last person for this session. We shall have another lady, but there is a gentleman in blue here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, My name is Nicholas Mwesiga. I run an online website called Traffic News. I have a couple of questions, but I will actually ask two. General Muntu, you actually, a section of members of the FDC are accusing you of failing in your 5-year term as president. to canvass support through grassroots mobilization, to look for money in everything. So I want you to list for me at least 5 achievements you made while president of FDC. Secondly, there are rumors actually peddled by top officials of the FDC and including Kiza Besigye that after 2016 election, you secretly met President Museveni. What was this meeting all about? And if it so happened, why would you go ahead to contest for actually seeking a re-election? Were you looking for a power sharing deal with the NRM? If I could ask the third and last one, please describe for me your relationship with Dr. Kiza Besigye from the day you met him up to the time you say let me leave.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Our press people, thank you very much. As we agreed that we shall have the first 5 questions, the session is over. We are going to give General MUNTU the opportunity to respond to those questions. Then after that, we'll have the next 5 questions, and that will be all. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give General MUNTU the time to respond to those questions. Thank you very much.
The first question was from Mahere, Top TV. We are going to pass this document to you. When you read the document, possibly you'll understand it well. Because what I talked about, one Uganda, one people, that you can't achieve that unless you also work with truth and justice. One Uganda, one people is a slogan for FDC. Truth and justice is a slogan for DP. Basically, I'm saying all parties need to work together. It is not that I'm saying that there is no truth and justice in where? In FDC. Maybe let me read it because we must be willing to recognize that one Uganda, one people. No, let me start from the earlier sentence. For us to de-escalate the mounting tensions, we must be willing to reach out beyond our parties, communities, and faith. We must be willing to recognize that one Uganda, one people cannot be achieved without truth and justice. One Uganda, one people is FDC slogan, truth and justice DP slogan. So basically we are saying like DP, FDC need to work together. That peace, unity and transformation cannot happen without people's power being our power. People's power being our power is a slogan of Honorable Bobby Wine, Chaguranyi. So that the opposition is working together to be able to achieve what is in their slogans. So, and the other one is for UPC. We don't have a slogan yet, that's why we didn't put it in. Since 2004, what has been the problem in FDC? We have failed to reconcile two different strategies. That's the main problem. I hear that people who are going searching for other reasons. Other reasons are secondary as far as I'm concerned. Every document I've been engaged in working with other colleagues to produce. The engagements I've had with the party leaders is all focused on the differences in strategy, which we have failed to reconcile. And I've gone ahead to tell colleagues, even when we were in a meeting the other day with the party president, Honorable Boy, I was saying that, look, Honorable Boy, the war or the fighting is not going on because you are the party president. I have said before, I am going to keep saying it. Even if I had won in 2017, and if I was the party president now, the fighting would still be on. I can guarantee you that. So it's not about Honorable Boy. I went through it for 5 years. Unfortunately, by the time I handed over power, I had not succeeded in resolving those contradictions. My hope is that the colleagues in FDC recognize this. I also told Honorable Boy this. He has an opportunity now which I never had. I have asked Honorable Boy and the colleagues that he's going to be working with. If you study the political environment right now that we're operating in, FDC has an opportunity to rebrand. And I informed him, and this is my honest opinion, that he is not going to succeed in rebranding FDC if we are to remain in FDC, because I know for sure the war would continue even until 2021. So he has an opportunity now to rebrand, because the people whom he's going to be with believe in one strategy. And therefore I don't see how there would be any internal fights. I never got that opportunity. We had two strategies. We failed to reconcile them. And we fought each other to a state of paralysis. The party could not move. We became a destabilizing factor in the whole opposition. I've been telling colleagues, even in the larger opposition, even the attempts we are now making to ensure that we work at a higher level to create a larger formation within which the opposition works. I've been truthful to them. But I don't think that that larger formation would be stable unless the component parts are stable. So if we were to go into the larger formation as FDC, with us there, all fighting, our instability would be a source of instability for the whole opposition. Let's put aside emotions and look at things through deep analysis and be scientific. My experience tells me that FDC now has an opportunity to do everything that they want to do. Tembo, Dere Monta, being described as someone arrogant and hungry for power, wanting to be a president. I think there are two components in that. I can't judge myself. I don't know whether I am arrogant. But I try as much as is humanly possible to be as humble as I can. As for being hungry for power, I've lost 3 times. I lost in 2009, I lost Dr. Chiza Bestie. First thing I did, disbanded the campaign team. Went fully behind Dr. Chiza Bestie. 2010, lost Dr. Chiza Bestie. Lost Dr. Chiza Bestie. Within 3 days, disbanded my campaign team, went fully behind Dr. Chiza Bestie. Dr. Chiza Bestie was lucky, because during his term, there was no instability in the party. We never fought him. 2015, I was the party leader. Dr. Chiza Bestie had sought our permission to leave the party to go and organize for defiance, because he said the party would tie him down. We accepted. And he went out. 2015, we gladly received him back competing for flag bearer. I lost to him. I promised in Nambole that I would swing the party fully behind him. I did that. Went around this whole country campaigning for Dr. Chiza Besigye as our flag bearer. If that is being hungry for power. I respect Honorable Patrick Oboy as the legitimate president of FDC. I lost to him in 2017. I handed over to him 1 week after I lost. When I won in 2012, it took me 1 year and a half to meet with the person we had competed against. 1 year and a half. I handed over power 1 week, met with him 4 days after that, told him, Patrick, I don't want you to go through what I went through. We'll either work and resolve these internal contradictions. If we find that it is not possible to resolve those internal contradictions, we will part ways, give you the opportunity to drive the party in the direction which you want to drive it. This is the opportunity. The colleagues who are in FDC need to be fair to us. If they can have a retreat, calm down, they say they are shocked, let them calm down from the shock. Because they are leaders. They are leaders, we are all leaders. Leaders can't afford to be shocked because you are leading. So they need to sit down and do soul searching, as we will be doing. Because we are in the same environment, political environment. I believe we will either consciously have to work together or be forced by circumstances to work together.
Yes.
Time is the best judge. The second aspect of wanting to be a president, not at any cost. I've been going throughout the whole country. There's a big chunk of our colleagues who've been saying, MUNTU, stay in, we are going to go on the grassroots, fight, get delegates, and we'll give you the flag. Almost 75% of the places I've gone to have told me that we remain inside and we fight for the flag. I kept telling them the same answer, that they are putting the cart before the horse. And I also kept telling them that unless I just want a flag for psychological satisfaction or to put it on my CV that I once held a flag. Because if we are to remain in FDC and keep fighting as we have been, 2020, if we reach 2021, Museveni is still in power, and we have to compete through an electoral process. Whether it is MUNTU who would hold that flag, whether it would be Patrick who would hold that flag, whether it would be Honorable Nandala Mafabi, whether it would be Dr. Chiza Besigye, whoever would hold that flag, in as long as we would keep fighting between now and then, that flag would not take us anywhere. So they need to concentrate on what they have now. We have given FDC an opportunity. And I don't think they have an excuse. If they don't build stability in that party, rebrand if it requires rebranding, do all things humanly possible to achieve the objectives set. I can guarantee you that we will work with them where they want us to work with them. So basically what we are trying to do When a party doesn't have internal stability, it can't concentrate on doing the things that it needs to do. And it's the things that which a party does during the time between elections that enable it to go behind its flag bearer, because it would have built the capabilities necessary to enable the flag bearer to take power. If I was hungry for being a president, I would be blind to that. I would hang around, we fight, do all kinds of things like I know many politicians do, and wait to take that flag. It's not the flag which will take us to power. It is the organizational capabilities we put behind the flag. That you are immoral. That is the mission over. If I was immoral, I would stay there to destabilize FDC. By giving them an opportunity to build their capabilities without any internal interference. I don't know whether people who say these things are even serious. They just need to follow a track record. I have done everything humanly possible to ensure that when this party was in internal turmoil, I completely refused to be drawn into wars, internal wars. I was walked all over, I was abused, I was undermined, but I kept on looking at the unity of the party. Proud! 2015, I was the party president. In working committee, I had reached a point where I really felt exhausted. Maybe I should respond to people who say, why therefore are you making consultations when you lost? In 2015, I was the party president of FDC. In an internal meeting, I said, guys, we have fought each other to a state of paralysis. If we can't reconcile these two strategies, let's part ways in a mature, amicable way. I was the party leader. But let me make it public, and I know nobody can challenge that. I last met President Museveni after we held our Mbale meeting as PAFO. I think that was 2004. Wow. That's the last time I met Museveni physically at Nakasero State Lodge. One-on-one. The only other times I've ever been in a place is when we've been in a group, either as Yala, or like when you are in a large meeting, maybe a wedding or some place like that. Integrity is one of the most central values of my existence as a human being. When we agree, I tell you so. When we disagree, I also tell you so. When there are errors I've committed, I admit those errors. There's nothing in my life that I have focused on more time than the building of character. I don't care about what people say, basically, about me. Why? Time is the friend of everybody who is in this room and those who are outside. Time. Time. If it is the will of God, there's going to be a time when people will be shocked when they know who the Moors are. have you finished your mission? If I was on a mission, there are two things I would have done. One, remain in FDC and ensure that it does not gain stability. Two, move out in such a way that it is totally ruptured. I have almost, even now, I'm going to continue. I keep on reaching out to the FDC leaders. Because when politics, not for anything else, at least some of us, but we recognize that there are 40 million people out there.
Yeah.
We could have formed a party in 2017 after Nambole. You know, there was a lot of it is possible to manage even this separation. I bump into many people who say it is not possible. It is incumbent upon us, those of us who have left, those who have remained in, to ensure that we work together. Time is going to prove who are willing, who walk the talk, and who are unwilling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time is going to show that. So why would I be going through all that if I was an agent? Doing everything humanly possible that we maintain relationships. There's no time I've ever campaigned within FDC when I was not called a Moor. Ever. But I was also called a Moor when I went to the bush. I keep telling people, when I went to the bush, I was put under surveillance. Because the commanders there who knew me, I came to learn this by the way after we had even captured power. I didn't know when I was still there. The commanders who knew me, who knew my history, who knew my father, put me under surveillance. They said, there's no way MUNTU's son can come here to fight Obote. They put me under surveillance for a period until they recognized that no, this young man is genuine in what he was doing. We do things differently. Maybe that's why people misunderstand us. Maybe we do things which people don't expect. Kwago Radio 2. Announcements came as a shock. I'm sorry about that. When you are in politics, you must keep reading the ground. You must do analysis. And I never made it a secret. I kept on saying we did analysis and came out with the 3 options. At the end of the consultative process, we also got to pick another 4th option. One was reconcile and move together as a unit. That was the best case scenario. 2, continue inside the party and keep fighting. We knew that that would maintain this instability. 3, the one which we picked later, we never discussed it when we were on the consultation process. One group remains in this case ourselves, but you become passive. And when you are passive, you cannot become a cause of conflict. The 4th one, the failure of the first one, and deciding not to take the 2nd and 3rd, then you separate, hopefully in a mature, amicable way, and then you work together at the level of taking power at the national level and managing power better. I kept on saying this throughout, discussing them with the colleagues we met all over the country, even when we meet with the team of colleagues from FDC. So we said we would have choose one. The report which I gave the colleagues in FDC, we said the 2 are out of the question. So we can either work for the first or the last. And we had made analysis, and we had kept on saying once we finish consultations, we, who have been more or less on the side of parties' development, sat with the analysis and we said, you know what, where we are at, the situation we notice is very, very difficult to reconcile the two strategies. So that was at the back of our mind. And we knew that reconciliation within would be very, very difficult. And we have informed the party so. So there should have been no, they would only have been shocked if last year is when we just moved out. But that would also have caused a rupture. We didn't want to cause a rupture. We wanted the process of separation to be as smooth as possible. Because again, there are people who are saying, why should you meet? If you don't agree, why should you meet? We said, even if we were to separate, civility demands that we make an engagement and try the best we can to put in place mechanisms for post-separation management. I've been giving examples, people will tell me that. I say, look guys, if you are two people and you are co-sharing in a house, you are paying rent together, you've been in that house for 14 years, how on earth would your other colleague think if they came back from work, if you have whatever form of misunderstanding, and they come and they find you have gotten all your properties, you have left? What form of civility would that be? Wait for the person, tell him, you know, where we have reached, I need to go and get separate space. So they are aware, and then you move. That's how some of us operate. Working with other political forces. Yeah, incidentally, we are searching for each other. We are in touch with Honorable Bobby Wine. We are in touch with Honorable Mao. We are in touch with Honorable Basarirwa. I know that Honorable Bobby Wine and Honorable Basarirwa are also in touch with each other. I know that Honorable Mao and Honorable Basarirwa and Honorable Bobby Wine are also in touch with each other. And I know that Honorable Mao is in touch with FDC. So all of us are in touch with each other. And we recognize the demand out there that the opposition should work together. So my hope, and I have told all the colleagues whom we've been in touch with, that as we form ourselves into a new formation, we are willing and ready when any of the other colleagues convenes a meeting, once they invite us, we will be there. Even if it is FDC which convenes a meeting of all opposition parties, we will be there. It's not about us. Of course, we're also reaching out to the progressive leaders within the movement. For us, we recognize that as another area where we must keep linking with those who want change within the movement. And I believe all the other colleagues in the opposition are also doing the same thing. We've got a situation where we are heading, the situation is going to be quite slippery. Who knows? However, we need to reach out to each other so we can form a strong, credible alternative as the opposition. So that's where we are at now. Even as we build a new formation, we are building a new formation with a commitment to subjecting it to a larger formation. I have had the opportunity to brief the leaders. All the leaders that I've mentioned, I have briefed them about that. What we are doing, what our intentions are. And I have no worry about that, because I know it's a time judges. And time is going to prove who we are, what we stand for. So we believe in cooperation, and we will cooperate in a genuine, honest, transparent way. Let time judge all of us, as individuals, as well as formations, because there is nothing you can hide. As the Bible says, nothing is hidden that will not be revealed. That talks about all of us, not only MUNTU. Even those who are saying whatever they say, We are all subject to that saying. that I'm going to fail. That I'm going to fail Honorable Bobby Wine. Honorable Bobby Wine is an intelligent person. He's working with quite a number of intelligent professionals. They have the capability to judge whom they are dealing with. If I do things that cause discomfort to them or anybody, it is the actions that they will see. Then everybody who finds that we are doing things which cause discomfort to them, they don't have to deal with us at all. You know? Namubiru, that our Secretary for Mobilization, what made you fail to mobilize? We mobilized to the extent that was possible within the resources we had. Mobilization is about resources. So you can only mobilize within the limitation of the resources that you have. When I was the Secretary for Mobilization. When I became the party president, we could not fully mobilize because of the internal conflicts. That's the gift we are handing over to Patrick. He's not going to have his hands tied. So the colleagues who are in FDC, to whom we were impediment, they now have no impediment. Honestly. So they should concentrate on mobilization and don't spend a lot of time on seeing what other people are doing. Nicholas Mwesigwa. That I should list 5 achievements. First, I've moved out of FDC. Achievements. No. I'm sorry. And Mwesigwa, please don't misquote me. I'm moving out of FDC. They shouldn't bother about that. What I did, what I didn't do in FDC. Which I am hoping the FDC leader. I told Honorable Patrick Oboy was out of one, has achieved one thing which is unique. 2010, 2012, 2015, and 2017. I was in all of them. And says around that. 2, if they're able to sustain it internally, because we appreciate FD, I don't know whether they recognize it. In FDC, then as we were in that pride, build internal democracy, how shall we establish it in the country? Walked, I last met him from the meeting with Museveni. Massed wealth. I went 5th division. There are no accounting systems. They said, this is the practice. I said, this is not my money. Take it. Those in the army who systems of accountability remain there. I am someone who, by God's grace, is gifted with discipline as going to the opposition. The FDC. 2009, President himself for giving me opportunity to lead the army for this period. But as for the... So what would I be in Kwanzi? 2004. I was one of the representatives of the army with General J.J. Odong. I was in uniform. We were only 5 people who came out. 20 those who were in the movement, which started in 2001. By then, in a large meeting, there were 400 leaders. We were doing the very things which we were fighting against. I never do that. 96, I was in command in public. When you are the command of them. by having secret meetings to get what about? What advantage would there be? I don't know what I should even say. Deal. I have told colleagues, trying deal, I will not be part of between the opposition and the party, institution to institution. I will not have been part of that. What is your relationship against him? Instead of him being the first person to know. Every time I'm going to come 2009, 2010, even when he was in South Africa's problems we have in this country, is land party or two which practice it internally. The participation that I've had at the top, you cannot say, no, I am not going to allow this. No. Cognize that about 80% of the leaders in FDC were not psychologically prepared. I indicated to NEC 2 weeks before I said, this cannot be. And I believe it's now a culture within the party FDC. So the leaders in FDC really should do everything humanly possible to in a civil way. All the people I have competed with. I keep saying we must build a new political culture where competition is seen to be healthy. Because we are all actors in the same political environment. I am not...
Question. And we shall try to...
Thank you very much. Damanuha is my name from KFH 21, and are you ready to face off with your former FDC has failed? And number two, I see a number of the last one, please. I also see a number of seated here. Does that mean that they also want to join your party?
Come again?
My question to General Mundu, there are actually two I seek your indulgence. The first one is he talked about the political space. And I would like to know if he doesn't think when people power occupied that space.
Can you use the microphone?
Yes, sorry. General Mundu talked about a political vacuum that the research has shown that the space that needs to be occupied. I am asking, has the global and political power occupied that space? And relatedly, the issues that are affecting the current party, issues of resources that you rightly alluded to, issues of state machinery, how do you think you will overcome them in this new formation? The second question is about... it's about... General Mundu talked about the beginning of greater cooperation within the opposition. I would like him to enlighten us on how greater cooperation comes with too many political parties, rather than when you are one and ideas are being discussed in one party. Because as it is, it might be that the new formation is going to fight more with the FDC and the other parties than to struggle and fight against the dictatorship that this regime is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, there's a gentleman there.
Thank you very much. My name is Walter Message from NTV. I just want to understand what will be the roadmap for the new formation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. That was brief. That was good. Let me have the gentleman here.
Thank you very much. Retired the General Mission. My name is Andrew Rumba. I work with an online newspaper called The Spy Gun. But I'm also the president for online.
The online paper called what?
My name is Andrew Rumba. I work with an online newspaper called The Spy Gun. And I'm also the president for the Independent Online Journalists Association, the online media houses that subscribe within our organization. Okay. I have two questions. One, in the journal, as General Balasso was beginning to welcome the people here, she actually asked some delegates from across the country, and they stood. And I realized that those are actually members of FDC. Doesn't it ring in your mind, General Muntu, that actually these people have been mobilized using the structures of FBC across the country, using the resources of FBC, using the networks of FBC to actually mobilize the people that are coming in. So they say you have been a negative force within the party. Don't you think they have a point? Number two, Muntu, you are now making almost the 21st political party in Uganda. There are about 20 political parties in Uganda. Even the oldest party, it has been in opposition for the last 60 years. UPC and so on mentioned it. What new ideas, Muntu, are you bringing on the table that those 20 political parties have not actually touched? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have only 2 people left. We can be mindful of our time. So I request gentleman right here. And I'll choose the last one to be the gentleman in the checkered shirt. Okay.
Thank you. My name is Abakar Rua. I work with the MUNTU. General Muntu, what makes you different from President Museveni? Because when President Museveni lost an election, he went to the bush. And what we are seeing right now, when you lose an election, it's as if you are in the bush because you're So what makes you different from him? Because if people trust you with power, or if you hold the flag, come 2021, what will happen if you lose?
Thank you. The last one is going to be the gentleman in the checkered shirt. Yeah. And that will be the end of the questions.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Nicholas Wasek, a journalist with New Vision. General Muntu, you rightly so say that the problem of tendencies have been 2 tendencies in the FDC right from 2000. And yes, pundits are
not 2004.
At the formation of FDC, there have been these tendencies, but you haven't talked about how you're going to be able, within your new formation, to ensure that there aren't 2 parallel tendencies, because you've alluded to talking, to being in touch with people like Bobby Wine who are actually have a similar tendency with some of the people that you've left in the FDC. And then maybe finally, Honorable Lasso talked of members of NEG, she talked of delegates from districts. Are these people also part of the new formation, or they're just here to witness the new formation?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Those are the last questions from the press people. But I've been requested to allow only 2 people, one from BBC and another one from Bukete. So the person from BBC.
MPS. What is MPS? MPS doesn't have their hand. They don't have a question.
Okay, members, let's listen to the question.
You alluded earlier that you would not be part of any power sharing deal. Could you perhaps elaborate on that? What between FPC and NRM are on, or would you be in a position to negotiate by yourself?
Then the Bukete person.
What is Bukete?
And that would be the last. Where is the Bukete person?
Yeah, right.
Thank you. My name is Edward.
Can we have some silence, please?
One of my questions was, I think she asked about. I want to know why you wouldn't take part in that power sharing agreement.
Okay.
And the second one is the mentality within the party you're leading seems to be that you've got to be radical to be in opposition, and you seem to make now politics inclusive. Do you think how long do you think it's going to take you to make Ugandans believe you?
Okay, thank you very much. Our friends from the press and the media houses, that is the end of the questions. So we shall give General MUNTU the opportunity to answer these questions. Thank you very much.
Damari from KFM. Will you become the flag bearer? One, even as we are now, there are people who come to some of us and say, you run, even if it means you run as an independent. People say that. I give them the same answer. It is not the running that is the most important now. It's the level of organization, the infrastructure that we put together to put behind whoever runs. And I believe there are going to be processes. I don't know how they will unfold. Our concentration, at least as a new formation, because we are going to be open, take 2-3 months within which we'll be making consultations with like-minded people, and a number of processes that we'll put in place that will operate even within the new formation. One thing we believe in is internal democracy. So there will be open competition within the party itself. That's one. Two, we are not necessarily the one that would have to take that flag, because we may come into a larger formation and we choose to have whoever would go through that process that would put in place. But our concentration, I keep telling colleagues, is that let's build the necessary infrastructure, build the necessary capacities that we can put behind any flag bearer, whether it is MUNTU or whoever else it would be, that will have the capability to put behind that flag bearer to be able to take power. This is the way I see this question. Because I also always, not only now, but even in the past, even when we were trying to build TDA, my advice has always been, please, let's not start with the leaders. Let's start with the building of the necessary capacity so we can deal with the leadership questions towards the end. Because the culture of politics in our country is that when you go into individuals, it creates a lot of instability in the process, and it hinders your attention that should be put on building the capabilities that are necessary. This is my approach. The road, how many people have departed? At this point, I don't know. But also, too, I don't think we should go into numbers. Because whatever numbers they are, they will be whatever they are. Yes. I really don't think we should focus on that. We will need to focus, in my own estimation, if we get to whatever numbers, whatever percentage it will be, we will be forming a new formation, but would also like to manage a very delicate process of separation, so we keep working with FDC in the larger struggle. So we don't want to focus on things which are going to build more tensions because we are operating in a very emotive situation. Because if whatever number they are, eventually we will know the numbers ourselves internally. But we are not going to make it a public thing as if there is competition between us and FDC. It's not about competition. It's about building and ensuring that we maintain a relationship where there can be constructive engagement between ourselves and FDC. But I know there are a significant number of leaders who believe we share the same ideological leanings, or we agree on the same strategies. Well, the MPs who were invited by the convener, and they were across party lines. So we knew that no MP can join us now. For any MP to join us now would be committing political suicide. I mean, there is a law of the land. All MPs now in Parliament either stood as FDC or other opposition parties or independents or NRM. So there is none who can really cross from one to another. The law does not allow that. So we thank them for coming as guests. Including the LC5 chairperson, Gulu. We thank you for coming as a guest. We also thank Honorable Nambeshe because he's in the movement, but he has come as a guest. We also thank Honorable Mbwate Kamwa, who has come, is a movement, but he's a guest. We thank Honorable Karanga, who is an independent, but also as a guest. Because even independents cannot cross. We thank Honorable Simon Oyed. We thank Honorable Paul Mwiru. We thank Honorable Rico Habat, Honorable Osege. We thank Honorable Winnie Behande Nyabahasa. She's also a guest. Honorable Oyed Simon, Honorable Anne Odeke was also an independent. Even independents by they can't cross. You cannot move from being an independent to a party. Honorable Elijah Cooper, I saw him. He stepped out. We also thank him. An independent can't say, I am an independent, and therefore you can join DP or UPC or FDC or movement. You can't, unless you are ready to go for a by-election, which I don't think would be tactically right for anybody to do that. Agatha political space, people power is occupying that space, and we are comfortable with that. As a country, we recognize we are not out to compete with the colleagues who are in the opposition. No, we are out to start a new formation that works with other opposition formations to put our strength together to remove a dictatorship. So even if one of the formations has 70%, another one has 10, another one has 5. Even if we had 5, we have no problem. We would bring our 5 in a disciplined way, put it behind the effort of the other 95%, we make 100%, and we crush the dictatorship. That's our method. That's how we operate. I was a party leader of FDC for 5 years. As FDC, we did everything humanly possible. When we put the opposition, we worked with the opposition leaders, we worked with civil society, and put together what eventually became TDA. We didn't throw around our weight as the largest opposition party. We didn't. We subjected the party to the larger formation. And we succeeded for 3 years. Unfortunately, we broke down at the end. That was unfortunate. But the leaders we dealt with, I think, would recognize our methods, our style. That we are not going to be fighting and causing instability. If anything, with time, I believe many will recognize that actually whatever strength we would have, that we would use it for purposes of creating stability within the opposition. We do that. We try the best we can. State machinery. Well, state machinery is not going to cease being hostile. So as we operate as the opposition, we have to work together to to ensure that we build the necessary capabilities to check that hostility from the regime until we overcome it together. Greater cooperation, too many political parties. Actually, maybe I should use it to respond to, it's not 21 parties. I think there are about 34 registered parties. I really don't see a problem with having many parties myself, because there are two aspects to this. One, it offers choice to the population. That's what democracy is all about. The parties that attract people and people join it and they expand and they become large, perfectly fine. That will be the people's choice. The population chooses which party to join. The ones that will not be joined want to grow, want to expand. But I don't see any problem in that, because you can want a party as a platform to push out your voices. Or you may even be a party on around an issue that is not so popular in the public yet, but you want to grow over a period of time. So I don't think we should be worried about the number of parties. At the end of the day, what determines the growth of a party is whether it's able to attract people into it, leaders into it, and also the management capabilities of the leaders of that party. That will you not fight more with FDC? I really hope not. And I believe the first thing we'll do, even as we build the new formation, is to engage internally amongst ourselves, the leaders at the national level, at the district level, at the constituency level, to make a difference, to ensure that we walk the high road, and to refuse to be sucked into the temptation to walk the low road, like many politicians do. We wouldn't want to be sucked into cat fights. We've been fighting when we've been inside. I don't think we should continue when we are outside. And let me ask the colleagues who are here, those who have determined to start the beginning of a new formation, please, we must differentiate ourselves. Everyone must recognize that these people are serious people, they are mature people, they know what they are doing, they don't allow themselves to be provoked into fights. So learn to control your emotions. We must build ourselves into a disciplined political force. Because we want to participate with other colleagues who are there in the opposition to ensure that we present a credible alternative political force. We will not build trust with the population unless they see the way we act. And even under the most intense provocation, please, don't be sucked into cat fights. Walter Mwesige, roadmap of the new formation, as we've already announced. From now, we are going to reach out, start making contacts with different interest groups. We're going to find out people who believe in what we are doing. We could have come here and announced the name and announce symbols and announce slogans. We didn't think we should take that approach, because we didn't want to start something and people feel as if they are joining something already formed. We chose to take a different path, to say who we are, attract the people who think alike, and then we go into the process of formation in the next 2 or 2.5 months. So when we are launching, all of us would have launched something together. That's the path we chose. And that's why we indicated that by 25th of December, 2018, we intend to launch this new force with its name, because the new force really is
New formation.
the new formation. We are going to operate that while we're in the process of getting a name, getting colors, getting symbols and all that, and doing registration process, working on policy options, working on values and objectives. That one we'll work on between now and 25th of December, and we'll be announcing the more detailed processes at a later point beyond today. I don't know whether journalists are allowed to join parties, but if you are welcome. Andrew Irumba, members of FDC that have been a negative force in the party. As you notice, there's nobody below 18 here. They are citizens, they have free choice. They can go wherever they want to go. Two, whatever resources have been in FDC, they are part of the contributions of resources in FDC. None of the leaders here is being coerced, none has been manipulated. So anybody who is willing to join will join. The ones who remain will remain. And I really can look in the cameras and tell the colleagues who remain in FDC that we will work with you. We are allies. We don't see you as our enemies. Those who see us as enemies, we will not fight back. And we will prove this through actions, not words. Not words. Not words. Through actions. And time will make its own judgment. 21 parties, what new ideas have you on the table? Once we are through this process, we will launch. We will identify who we are, what we want to do, what we represent. And then the population will choose whether to come, whether not to come. That's democracy. Abu Bakr, what makes you different from Museveni when you lost the election? I've told you I lost in 2009, I went behind Dr. Chiza Besigye. I lost in 2010, I went behind Dr. Chiza Besigye. There was no instability in the party at all. Responding to someone, actually the instability didn't start in 2004. No. The instability in the party started in 2012 when I became the party president. Dr. Besigye was lucky because he led in a state of calm. Because we would recognize when he would win, we would go behind him. I was never that lucky. Because even in 2015, when he won, I swung the party behind him. I recognize, I don't know how many times I should say this. If you keep asking me every day, I can say this over and over until you get tired. Honorable Patrick Oboy is the legitimate party president of FDC. I told Honorable Patrick, and I keep telling him, if there's anything he wants to get out of me in terms of advice, in terms of support, I will give it to him in an open, honest way. 2 days ago when we met, because the colleagues in FDC said they can discuss any other option other than separation, I told them we have two options. To consciously discuss mechanisms of post-separation, so we keep working together consciously, or we wait for that situation to be forced upon us. My choice, our choice, is that we do it in a conscious way. If we are bitter losers, we would be raising dust all over. So I didn't leave FDC because I lost. I have told you, in 2015, I was the party president. In working committee, when I told colleagues, I said, we have fought each other into a state of paralysis. We can't move. So we need to resolve these internal contradictions, or if that can't happen, why don't we, in a mature way, separate? I was the party president. What do you want me to say? Yes, I told you I did not leave. I'm not leaving FDC because I lost. No, because of the internal fights. Two, I have never in my life feared what people think. Why? Because it's time which makes judgment. I keep telling colleagues, the cemetery is full of many unfulfilled dreams because people fear what they think about them. I don't care about what people think. If I think what I'm trying to do is right, if it is right, it will work. Come rain, come shine, it will work. If it is wrong, we will not fly. There are 30 registered parties in this country. I mean 34. Many of them are not even known. You know? So if the people there recognize us and think, these are bitter losers, these are people who can be a danger to society, they are the ones who will determine that. Because eventually they are the ones who can choose to join a party or not to join it. But we cannot fear to do what we believe is right because we are going to be judged that we have left because we lost. If we feared that, the outcome of that, in my own honest opinion, we would remain in FDC fighting. That is more dangerous in as far as I'm concerned because FDC is the largest opposition party so far. And the more it is unstable, the more it is paralyzed, the more it cannot move, the more it becomes unstable, the whole opposition. That's our judgment. That's our analysis. So you also make your judgment whether what we think what we are saying is correct or not correct. But it's only time which will prove that. And we also believe in building institutions and systems because we don't want any country or any society to depend on the goodwill of any individual. That's why we believe in building institutions so that anybody who is in power is checked effectively by institutions. That's our belief. Nicholas Wasaja. 2 tendencies 2004. No, the fight started in 2012, not from 2004. And then he says, how are you going to manage them? He was asking, I think, about delegates. Say, are they part of the new formation? The delegate, the leaders, the delegates on this part, and the ones behind, largely are part of those. Even behind, yeah. Many of them have made their choices, and as we go, as we go through this process, we'll get more and more details. And that's why some of us were thinking that we need to work with the colleagues in FDC. So it's not a rupture. We sit down and discuss and say, you know what, we've been having leaders in this area who have been part of the party. They want to leave. And they know how to manage that, how to fill up and all that and all that. Of course, there are many other things that would need to be discussed, but we are open to that. If FDC is open to that as well, we'll work with them. If they are not open to that, we will not quarrel with that. BBC, I will not be in the power sharing deal as an individual, but I wouldn't stand in the way for negotiations for anything that comes out within any negotiations. Because even when I was a party leader, we were in negotiations. We were with other political parties. We had put there 4 points, so that if General Museveni and the NRM accept those 4 conditions, then we would go into discussions. And if those discussions ended up in a power-sharing deal, I would not stand in the way of the institution being in the power sharing. As an individual, I wouldn't. Why? You ask the same question. Because of my experience. I have noticed that when you become part of the power sharing deal and you are not the one in power, and there is a regime whose character is of manipulation and deception, they will have taken you for a ride. And by the time you are through the power sharing deal, people almost can't see the difference between you and the ones in power. And I've seen many power sharing deals on this continent. By the time you are through the term, they may not know the difference. Because you can go there, you want to check corruption, and you cannot. When you cannot, many people will collapse, even those who are on the side of opposition. They'll become part of the corruption. Let me tell you, in that kind of situation, MUNTU, as an individual, I wouldn't be in that formation. But I would remain in the institution that is there. I fight a long time. I believe in marathons, not in sprints. How long will it take Ugandans to believe the path of building organizational infrastructure, branding yourself as a party, become more and more attractive, attract resources in terms of human resources, in terms of financial resources? How long will it take for Ugandans to believe in that? And civility in politics. We bump into many people, good people, people of integrity, honest people. There are more honest people in this country than the dishonest. But the majority of them say, we cannot go into politics because it is dirty. And I keep asking them, so how will it be cleaned? We'll clean it up. So we will walk the wrong road, but we'll offer an opportunity for people who believe in what we believe in. And if we are many, we will influence the culture of this country. But we are not going to take shortcuts just to get into power. In terms of, say, let's do anything to get there. And then we abandon the values we believe in, the principles we believe in. Two things are going to happen. As we struggle to get into power, we will go into power with our belief systems, not minus them. Power is not an end in itself. Power is a means to do something else. That's why in this formation, we have chosen the path that we have chosen. Because we will want to market ourselves to the country for what we stand for, not what we stand against. But there's a difference. I keep been asking colleagues in FDC for quite a while to say, guys, let's brand ourselves around what we believe in, so that the country understands us on our policy positions in education, on health, on agriculture, on youth, on women, on employment, on fighting against corruption and good governance principles. But the people who relate with us because of what we stand for. And that's what we wanted to do when we launched the policy agenda in 2014. Unfortunately, we were never able to do that rebranding. But the perceptions in the public, at least around us as FDC, was that this is the opposition party that can remove Museveni. We want to build a formation that is going to be identified with the values and belief systems that we stand for and the policy positions that we present, not be seen as the party which can remove Museveni. The two are not in conflict. Because when you build capabilities around what you believe in, that same capability, you can use it to remove the obstacle. In this case, the dictatorship. But if you build yourselves around an individual, like in this around General Museveni, to be seen as the force which can remove Museveni, I keep asking colleagues, so if General Museveni ceases to be a factor, what happens? What happens? They have experiences. Zimbabwe, a few months back, Mugabe was a dictator in Zimbabwe. Overnight, he ceased to be a factor in the Zimbabwe politics. So if we are identified against an individual who is human, it's a political situation. And at times it's fluid. If you are built an identity around what you are against, and suddenly it ceases to be a factor, you will face an identity crisis as an organization. We don't want to fall into that. Whether Museveni is in power or not in power, we want people to know us for what we stand for as we struggle against him. I hope people will understand really what we are about. You can wake up one day and find Museveni ceases to be a factor in the politics of the country. So if people have identified with you because of the removal of General Museveni, now it's not a factor. So why should they identify themselves with you anymore? And that was the last question. Which one? I think this was the last question from. I would like to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. We've taken quite a while in the press conference. I'd like to thank you for your presence here.
After Uganda, we request the Kiswahili for
okay,
2 minutes.
Our press people, I think the press conference is officially closed. You may get an opportunity to do interviews.
The delegates from districts, please stay in some corner here, and then we have a short meeting before you go. All delegates from districts remain somewhere here. We'll have a short meeting before you go.
Just everyone in Uganda.